Don't worry.
We need to secure the area. Stay inside and lock your doors.
I was 14 the first time I experienced a fear so deep that it didn't leave my bones afterward. My parents had gone on a 4-day trip, something they rarely did, and since I insisted I was grown enough, I stayed home to focus on school. The house was ordinary. A small, 2-story suburban place with creaking stairs and photographs that watched too closely when you were alone. The first night was quiet. Too quiet. Every sound in the house had a presence. The refrigerator's hum. The light wind nudging the gutters. The ticking of a clock that I'd never noticed before. Silence becomes a monster when there's no one else to share it with. Around 10 p.m. as I was watching TV in the living room, I caught something in my peripheral vision. The stairs are visible from the couch, a narrow wooden climb that leads into a shadowed hallway upstairs. For a split second I saw movement. Not a clear figure. Not details or shape. Just the shift of darkness against darkness. It was like the shadow at the bottom of the stairs pulled itself up step by step. I froze. I waited, expecting to hear footsteps, wood bending under weight, or anything to prove it wasn't just my imagination. Nothing. The hallway at the top remained the same blank mouth it always was. But the feeling lingered, a memory of motion branded into my mind. I told myself I was overtired. Stress from exams. A long day. Excuses are oxygen when fear tries to suffocate logic. Eventually, I turned off the TV and went to bed, downstairs. My bedroom was safer on that floor, farther from whatever might wait above. Morning came like a gift. Sunlight, noise, proof that the world wasn't just shadows and paranoia. I forgot it, mostly. But that night the house remembered. It was past midnight. My throat was dry and aching, the kind of thirst that demands water immediately. So I forced myself out of bed and cracked my door open. The house was dark. Heavy. I padded toward the kitchen, rubbed sleep from my eyes, filled a glass, and stood there drinking slowly, listening to the silence listening to me. My back was to the front door. When I turned around, I froze. The deadbolt was open. The door latch unlocked. The chain hanging loose. I had locked everything myself before bed. I was certain. I double-checked every door and window because that's what fear does. It turns you into your own security guard. Yet there it was, the house inviting someone in. A rational brain tries to explain. Maybe I forgot. Maybe the lock didn't catch properly. Maybe. But the dread in my stomach didn't believe a single one. I locked everything again, hands shaking, and went back to my room. I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the crack under my door, waiting for a shadow to break it. At 2:21 a.m., my phone vibrated. A message. It was from our next-door neighbor, the kind older guy who always waved from his lawn. "Why's your front door open?" Every nerve in my body turned to ice. His message included a picture. My front door was wide open. Not unlocked. Wide open. Taken just seconds before. I didn't go to the door. I didn't move. I didn't breathe any louder than necessary. I texted back. "I locked it. I'm in my room. Please, can you check?" He didn't reply. Instead, I heard footsteps outside. Slow. Then hurried. Then, bang, bang, bang. Not at my bedroom door. At the front door again. His voice followed. "Police are on the way. Stay where you are." Not reassuring. Not calming. Just real. I sat on my bed with both hands over my mouth as if silence might cloak me. Every sound from then on felt like a threat. The ticking clock was footsteps. The refrigerator was breathing. My own pulse was someone whispering. It wasn't long before I heard real voices. Police. Doors opening. Boots on tile. A sweep of the house. Radios buzzing. My neighbor opened my bedroom door gently, calling my name. He told me everything was clear. No one outside, no one inside. The police insisted I must have forgotten to lock the door or that the wind blew it open. But the wind can't unlock a door from the inside. There were no signs of forced entry. No footprints. No disturbed objects. No evidence of anything. And that should have calmed me. It didn't, because I remembered the night before. I remembered the shadow climbing the stairs. And when the police were leaving, one of them pulled me aside. "We found something upstairs," he said quietly. "Probably nothing. But maybe ask your parents if anyone else has keys." "What did you find?" I asked, my voice too small. He motioned for me to follow him. We went up the stairs, those same stairs, and he pointed to the carpet at the end of the hallway. There were wet footprints on the floor. Small. Bare. As if someone had stepped into the house barefoot and walked straight upstairs. They ended at the spare bedroom door. A door none of us opened that night. A door only my parents ever used. There was no one behind it when police checked. Just a window open, a crack too small for escape. Just a room too quiet for comfort. I stood there staring at those fading prints, each step drying into nothing. Evidence evaporating into plausible deniability. Police shrugged and left. My neighbor insisted I stay at his house. I didn't argue. When my parents returned, they replaced the locks, installed cameras, upgraded everything they could. But I still couldn't sleep upstairs. Not then. Not ever again. The house doesn't feel haunted. It feels observed. Like something invisible never left. Something that remembers footsteps. Something that knows how to open doors silently. Something that went upstairs once and might come down when it's ready. I never believed in anything supernatural. I always thought fear comes from real people, not ghosts. But that night changed me. It made me understand that there are things we can't explain, and some of them watch us far too closely. At the time, I was living alone for the first time in my life. A small rented house on a quiet street. One road in, one road out. The kind of neighborhood where nothing ever happens. The kind where everyone sleeps early. The kind where the darkness feels heavier because there's no noise to go with it. It was around 11:30 p.m. A rainy weekday night. I had been watching some show on my laptop, the kind you put on just for background noise. I remember pausing it because I thought I heard something, like a car outside. I dismissed it at first. But then there was a knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks. I froze. Nobody knocks at that hour. Not in that neighborhood. And it wasn't friendly knocking. It was a demand. I debated staying silent, but curiosity pulled me to the peephole. 2 police officers stood on my porch. Rain soaking their uniforms, flashing red-blue lights reflecting off the wet pavement. Relief washed over me. Police are safe, right? I unlocked the door halfway. "Evening," the taller one said. "We're conducting a welfare check. We got a call from this address." I blinked. "A call? From here? I'm alone." I didn't call anyone. The officers exchanged a quick look, subtle but noticeable. "Mind if we take a quick look inside?" the second one asked. Training videos and common sense screamed, "Don't let anyone you don't know in." So I asked the obvious question. "Do you have a reason to believe something's wrong here?" The taller officer tapped something on his radio. "We received a call from a woman." She sounded distressed. The line cut before she could say more. "A woman? In my house?" My hand tightened on the door. For a moment I didn't know what to do. There was someone inside. I needed help. There wasn't. Why were they here? I stepped aside. They entered cautiously, scanning every room, calling out, "Hello." The house stayed silent, besides the storm outside. They finished their check and returned to the front door. "Everything looks clear," the second officer said. "But if you notice anything unusual tonight, call us immediately." Then they left. I locked the door and double-checked the windows. Maybe it was a wrong number. Maybe some prank. But then I replayed his exact words in my mind. "We received a call from this address." A landline I didn't have. A woman who didn't exist here. I tried to shake it off and returned to my room. The laptop screen lit up the dark. And then my phone vibrated. Unknown number. It rang once, then stopped. A minute passed. Another call. Same number. This time a voicemail. My hands felt ice cold as I pressed play. At first I heard a faint static. Then a whisper. "I'm still here." That was all. A woman's voice. Broken. Strained. My stomach twisted. The officers must still be close. Streets were empty. I grabbed my jacket, ran outside, but the street was dark. No cruisers. No headlights. Nothing. They were gone. Back inside, I killed every light but one in the living room. I sat on the couch with my eyes fixed on the hallway, waiting for anything to move. Maybe 10 minutes passed before the front door knocked again. This time, fast. Impatient. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The knock repeated. Harder. No police this time, someone muttered on the other side. A male voice. Amused. I backed away slowly. Come on, he said, almost laughing. We know you're in there. He tapped the door. Fingernails, slow, deliberate. Scraping its surface. I reached for my phone to dial 911, but the call failed. No signal. The storm must have killed the service. The scraping stopped. Silence. Then a whisper from directly behind the door, low and stretched out. Not alone, never alone. A chill raced down my spine. I retreated to the bedroom, locked the door, and sat with my back against it. My heartbeat thudded so loud I thought it would expose me. 10 minutes, maybe 20, I don't know. Eventually, I convinced myself whoever it was must have left. I crept back to the living room. When I reached the hallway, something made me stop. My deadbolt was unlocked. The chain still set, but the deadbolt was turned fully open. I couldn't have done that. I never even approached the door. And then, movement. From the kitchen. I felt the air shift, the unmistakable sensation that someone else was in the room. I grabbed the nearest object, a metal candle holder, and stepped forward. The kitchen light flickered harshly from the storm's interference. The faucet dripped. Drip, drip. I forced myself to look toward the table. A woman sat there. Wet hair covering her face. Shoulders shaking. Whispering something repeatedly, too soft to understand. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I stared, frozen, trying to make sense of what I saw. Then she lifted her head just enough so that one eye glinted through her hair. And the words finally emerged clearly. Don't let them in this time. This time? Before I could speak, the front door banged open with violent force. The chain ripped from the wood. A flood of cold air rushed in. I spun around, the doorway was empty. No storm sound, no intruders, just stillness. When I turned back, the woman was gone. All that remained was the dripping faucet. Seconds later, a knock sounded again. Gentle. Rhythmic. I didn't open it. Instead, I called the police again. The call finally connected. When they arrived, they searched the home thoroughly. They found nothing wrong except the destroyed chain. I asked about the officers from earlier, where they went so fast. The responding officer frowned. We didn't send anyone out here before now. You're our only call tonight. I wanted to argue, but the look on his face said it all. Nobody had been dispatched to my address. No welfare check. No concern. No officers. I ended up sleeping at a friend's house. And the next day, I packed everything and left that home behind. But here's what keeps me awake even now. The voicemail from that unknown number? It didn't just say, I'm still here. There was more, words I didn't hear the first time. I listened again days later, volume up, ear pressed close. Behind her voice, you can hear two men whispering. We found her, one of them says. Inside the walls. That house never had a woman living in it. There was no previous owner matching any missing person cases. I checked. But someone, or something, called the police for help from inside my home. And whatever came to the door afterward, it didn't come to help me. Sometimes it's already inside, trying to keep others out. I never considered myself an anxious person. I wasn't easily scared. But that night changed the way I think about people, and about my own home. I was 17 at the time, home alone for the evening while my parents went out for a charity dinner. I had the house to myself for the first time in months, and I was looking forward to the quiet. My laptop was on the kitchen counter, a sandwich in hand, half watching a TV show I barely followed. Life was simple. Ordinary. Safe. The phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. Hello? I said, slightly annoyed. This is maintenance, a calm male voice answered. We were scheduled to fix your sink today. Are you home? I froze. My parents had mentioned someone was supposed to stop by that afternoon, but I thought they'd canceled it. I think my parents said they'd reschedule? I stammered. Oh, no problem, he said casually. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Don't worry about it. I hung up, shrugging. Whatever. A repair guy. My parents must have forgotten to cancel. When the doorbell rang 15 minutes later, I opened it and let him in. Standard procedure, right? I mean, he had the work order, ID, everything looked normal. He went straight to the kitchen, toolbox in hand, glanced at me and smiled. You must be home alone? He asked. Yeah, I said. I thought nothing of it. He worked for a while fixing the sink. I sat on the couch, scrolling my phone, trying to act casual. The work was slow, but that wasn't unusual. Maybe he was thorough. Maybe he liked taking his time. It was when he finished, wiped his hands, and didn't leave that the air shifted. Okay, I said, thanks I guess. You're all done, right? Yes, he said. Unless you want me to check a few other things. I can do that. I forced a nervous laugh. No, I'm fine. Then he did something small, something I didn't notice immediately. He walked past me into the hallway, toward the bedrooms. I froze. Where are you going? To make sure the upstairs pipes are fine, he said, tone perfectly casual. I swallowed. My throat felt dry. I think that's okay. He didn't respond, just kept walking upstairs. And I didn't stop him. I don't know why. Part of me assumed he would finish quickly. Part of me didn't want to confront an adult, a stranger, alone in my home. Maybe part of me thought I was overreacting. Minutes passed. I tried to convince myself he was upstairs just checking something harmless, but I could hear shuffling. A door opened. A drawer slammed. Footsteps pacing. I sat frozen on the couch, my phone in my lap. My stomach was a tight knot. I had a small baseball bat under the couch cushion. I gripped it tightly, but I didn't move. Then came the softest sound that made me want to scream. The stairs creaked behind me, slowly, one by one, up then down. I realized I wasn't just being watched. He was walking around, testing the house. He had no reason to be upstairs. I whispered, barely audible, "Get out." He stopped, then laughed. Low, soft, unsettling. "Relax. I'm just making sure everything's okay. You're home alone. It's safer if I check." Something in the way he said it wasn't reassuring. It wasn't professional. It was possessive. He sounded like he owned the space. I finally moved. Quietly, I went to the front door. "You should go now," I said, trying to sound firmer than I felt. He turned his head slowly, smiled faintly. "I can't just leave you here. It wouldn't be safe." My chest tightened. My hands shook. This wasn't a repair job anymore. This was intrusion. And he knew I couldn't force him out, not without making a scene, not alone. I backed toward the kitchen, hoping to see a phone. I did. Dialed 911 with trembling fingers. 911, what's your emergency? I whispered, I have someone in my house, a maintenance guy, he won't leave, The operator's voice was calm, professional. Stay on the line. Can you exit to a safe room? I nodded to myself. The bedroom. My bedroom. He had been upstairs, yes, but he could have come down at any moment. I ran and locked the door, my body shaking. I could hear him outside the room. Footsteps pacing the hall. Knocking softly on the door. Laughing. "Don't worry," he whispered. "Just checking on you." I told the operator everything, the sound of his footsteps, the way he moved around the house, the laughing. They assured me help was on the way. And then it got worse. I heard my bedroom door handle jiggle. Slowly. Deliberately. Someone trying the knob. My heart jumped into my throat. I pressed myself against the far wall, praying the lock would hold. My phone still in my hand. Minutes felt like hours. Every creak, every whisper, every subtle sound amplified in the silence. Finally, a knock at the front door. Louder, more impatient. A uniformed police officer shouted, "Hello. 911 sent us. Is everyone okay?" The intruder froze. I couldn't see him, but I could feel the tension. He lingered in the hallway for a second, then stepped back. I heard the front door open. Footsteps leaving. The police came in. They swept the house, upstairs and downstairs. The toolbox, gone. The man, gone. They couldn't find anyone. Nothing to prove he had ever been there. I explained everything. They took a report. Checked for fingerprints. Nothing. I stayed at a friend's house that night. My parents returned the next day and changed all the locks, called the maintenance company. They said no one had been dispatched that day. No work orders. No one matching his description. I haven't been able to explain it. Sometimes I still hear the faintest creak of stairs at night. I don't live there anymore, but the fear doesn't leave. I keep thinking, maybe it was just a man with bad intentions. Maybe he was a professional at manipulation. But the way he moved through the house like he owned it, the laughter that sounded more like a warning than amusement, it felt like he wasn't just a man. Sometimes when I'm home alone and the house is too quiet, I can almost hear him pacing again. Just enough to remind me, you are never as safe as you think. And someone is always watching whether you know it or not.